What's going on YouTube? Welcome to today's video. We have a live Q&A. We'll record a previous live Q&A coming up on the video. It's going to be me and my client Robby. He works for Nike over on the West Coast, and we finished up our 12-week program with the Healthy Flex prescription. Robby, I'm going to show his progress photos here, his transformation photos. He ended up gaining 8 pounds in 12 weeks and gained 3 inches on his chest and 1.5 inches on both his arms and his quads. So we crushed the last 12 weeks. We're actually going to be working together in the future as well. And also, like, as you saw by his transformation pictures, something interesting is extreme muscle gains for 12 weeks. And the reason why is because Robby, before the program, we'll probably go into detail more in the Q&A, but before the program, he lost a good 20-30 pounds, stopped training. So we were really able to take advantage of muscle memory. So sometimes when you see someone who's not super novice to training and makes severe or really incredible muscle gains, if they're not a drug using athlete, oftentimes it could be because of taking advantage of muscle memory. So that's also why he had such incredible results in terms of his measurements and strength progression. So you'll be hearing more of Robby's story right here. And then also, if you would like to apply for the program, you can apply at Hejnasty.com/coaching, and we'll get on a call and see if it's a good fit for both sides. So enjoy the video, and thank you guys for watching. Again, everyone, thank you for tuning in for this Q&A. It's here with Robby. I hope you all saw his transformation. It looks like he did steroids, but that was 100% natural to my knowledge.
Yes, it was.
But yes, great job during the program. I guess give everyone a little introduction. So I guess your name is Robby, but so what is your occupation and what were your goals for the 12-week program?
So my occupation, I work at Nike World Headquarters in Oregon. I'm an image editor for Nike by You, which deals with the customization of Nike product online. I'm also a photographer, and I do that on the side. But I wanted to get into the 12-week program because it just seemed like it'd be a good, jump start to kind of like shock my system and get back into lifting, because I took a little bit of a hiatus and I lost a lot of weight, just wasn't treating my body well, and I wanted to get some of that muscle back and just kind of get back into it. And I just figured this would be the best way, because I've never done a program before. This is my first program ever. Normally I just kind of went in, lifted, I knew workouts, knew things like that, had no clue on diet or anything like that. So, yeah.
Well, good. We definitely, I hope you gained some knowledge throughout the program. And also you mentioned, and it's kind of funny to me, you said this was your first experience with online coaching. And as everyone knows, everyone watching, there's no barrier to entry for online coaches. So you've got to be pretty skeptical with who you're going to hire as your coach. So definitely, I'm really happy that your experience was positive. A lot of my other clients, they say they've been burned by online coaches. Me personally, I've been sent a PDF for $100 for a 12-week program. Never heard from the guy again. And that's when I gained 34 pounds in 2.5 months. So hashtag. I would say. But, So I'm glad that it was a good experience. But let's talk. I want to zero in because you mentioned, I guess, like how you were with your fitness 12 weeks ago. So yeah, like how were you with your fitness? How were things going? Like physically before the program? Like how did you feel and everything?
I mean, before the program, I didn't really have a set eating schedule. Like before the program, I would probably eat, I'm really tiny. So, I mean, I probably ate, maybe twice a day, or like a binge meal. Like my diet was all over the place. I didn't count my macros. My energy level was really low. I slept a lot of the time just because I was depressed and things like that. Before that, like I would maybe work out once a week, just be like, all right, I'm going to stick with it this time. And then after I would just not die. Yeah, I would just not follow through. It hit really hard because my diet was probably all over the place. I just couldn't stick with it and get back into lifting. So that's when I reached out because I needed help.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess like onto that. So you mentioned you reached out. So how did you end up finding me? So how did you find me, I guess, on the interwebs?
So I found you through my boyfriend's Instagram, and he I was like, oh, who is this guy? I'm like, he's kind of cute, okay, whatever. I'll give a follow, like most people here on your, Instagram. But, I followed a lot of bodybuilders. I followed a lot of fitness, big names and things like that. But the problem was that, like, for some reason, I felt like you kind of broke the fourth wall. I liked a lot of your posts. They're really educational. You didn't take yourself too serious. It was just like you were really down to earth, really approachable. I mean, I mainly went with you because of the informative posts you had and how you talked about diet, how you were like eating ice cream and like you were really flexible. Not that I really cared about that, but like for you to have a body like that and eat the way that you did, like it just, no one really talks about that. So I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna reach out and just, see how it goes.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. I do appreciate that, and like especially now. I think during my cut, I did eat ice cream every single day, but it was kind of also to prove a point. I do love ice cream, don't get me wrong, but it's to prove a point that like you don't have to just live by a Tupperware. As long as your thermodynamics, your calorie intake is controlled, get enough protein, you're getting your fiber, your nutrients, you're going to see progress, and you're going to be happy with your diet. And I talked to some people today, and they're like, hey, like. I think it was actually the person cutting my hair. He was like, you've actually really helped me a lot this year because you just showed me I don't just have to stick to really boring foods. I can enjoy life. I can be social. I can have a drink. You can go to happy hours, and you can still be fit and enjoy your life. So
totally.
And
yeah, I mean, the amount of shit my coworkers gave me was just like, because, everyone's really fit at Nike. So I'm with my coworkers and like every morning I would have a Pop-Tart. Like I fit a Pop-Tart into my macros and it's fine. I was fine. It was great. I looked forward to it every morning. I'm not a huge breakfast person. Like I can't eat a lot in the morning. So coffee, a Pop-Tart, and everyone would just be like, what trainer is this? Who puts, Pop-Tarts in their macros? Like, I think you got scammed and all that stuff.
right.
So, but yeah, so I showed them, so to speak.
Awesome. Well, like, in my opinion, Pop-Tarts are overrated, but that's besides the point. So my next question, I think you already kind of mentioned, but like, what made you decide to start with me? Like, what was that last straw kind of that said, hey, I want to really commit to my fitness goals and make a change?
I was just tired of feeling like crap. Like basically, like I was at 165 in terms of weight. I lost, a lot of that, 20 to 30 pounds of it. And I realized in hindsight, because I didn't really have a program, a lot of the weight that I lost was mainly fat, not so much muscle. And in a way, it was kind of like a nice fresh restart.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know where to go. I didn't know I didn't know if I could do it right this second time. And that's mainly the reason I was just like, I need something to like put me on the right track. Like I'm tired of guessing. I'm tired of trying to like figure it out on my own. I want someone just to be like, here, do this. It's going to work. You're going to look good. I'll track your progress. You do the 90% of the work. I'll do the 10. You know what I mean? Like I wanted that. And that's kind of how I started. I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm done, tired of not feeling good. I'm tired of like my shirt's fitting looser and looser. So I just wanted to get back to that confidence that I used to have.
Yeah, definitely. Like as you mentioned, like you made that progress. Now you're fitting those shirts again, but like you did lose some weight, but you had that fresh start. Especially you got leaner, and when you got leaner, then we got to take advantage of the muscle memory as well. So that's why it looks like you took a steroid or something, but we really just completely abused muscle memory because muscle memory is a legit thing. And some of my clients that have had some of their best results in terms of the measuring tape is because like they may have had training history for a year or so, they stopped training for 6 months or so, and then you can really get that quickly back. So actually, like kind of what you did was like you did an extreme cut, you got leaner, and then we were able to really bring things back, and now it looks like you got bigger and leaner at the same time. But really what we did is just we abused the muscle memory and gave you enough protein. And as you said, and with all of my clients, My clients are doing 90% of the work, 95%
Yeah.
of the work. All I'm doing is giving them structure and saying, go do this, focus your energy on these important things, and you'll get a
Yep.
way better return than focusing on your meal timing, how many meals you're having, but focus on your calorie intake, your protein intake, and high
Yep.
volume training. By having that structure, you soared like completely.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just as strong as I was when I was at 165, and I'm like a lot lighter now. You know what I mean? Like I'm at, 144, and I'm just as strong as I was at 165, and I feel like I look better because I didn't gain just fat. Like I gained mostly muscle, and I got, all that strength back. And yeah, no, it's I didn't know how muscle memory would really work and if it would, and it came back. But like I started really weak. I'm still weak-ish, but like I started weak, and like I was like, I can't believe I'm curling this weight. Like I used to be doing this, and that was, in a way, it was demotivating, but at the same time it was like, man, this is sad. Like I need to really lift now. So
Yeah, and 100% with what you just said, and you came from, you were stronger, then you didn't train for a while, so you were a little like weaker relatively to where you were.
yeah.
But also like people, like they come to me and or people I've worked with have been, oh, this is my first month of training ever, and it's like, oh, I'm only doing the bar on bench press. I'm like, don't feel discouraged, because like when I first started, I was only doing a couple extra pounds added to the bar, and then 9 years later, I'm almost strong. So it's just like, doesn't matter where you start. It just matters that you continually take baby steps forward. Then the longer you're in the game, the longer you stick with it, you're going to be better. Same thing goes for anything. Like, especially like
Yep.
Robby, you're amazing at photography. You had to put hours of effort into that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. Totally agree.
Awesome. So what I want to ask you next is, so what did you learn throughout this program? So specifically, what did you learn maybe about fitness?
So a couple of big key takeaways that I noticed was that like before when I'd lift, I would do like back and chest one day, arms one day, legs one day, and shoulders, traps the other day. And after after every time I would work out, the next day I was dead, like really sore, like leg day was real, like I'd be sore for days. And every week it was like that. Every week I'd do the same thing, and every day I'd be sore. And with the program that I had, I was sore, but like in a way where I could function. I worked out multiple body like parts, essentially muscle groups every day, and so minimize that stress and that weight. So like I've never done as many shoulder workouts as I have on your program, and I feel like I finally have like shoulder definition. Like it's, and I've shoulders look great. I've always wanted bowling balls, on your arms. I don't have those yet, but like I hope to get that. But so that was a really interesting takeaway. I didn't think that I could gain size by, doing multiple muscle groups in every workout. I thought it had to be specific.
Yeah.
The second thing was with the diet. Being consistent, like, really does kind of make a difference. Like, in terms of calories and like protein intake. Like my weight kind of would fluctuate every now and then, not by a lot, but I would just notice it. And if I didn't eat the right amount of calories, because I'd lift at the same time, I like didn't feel good. Like I could feel like my body wasn't reacting as well as it would be if I was on like a good diet. So a good diet meaning right calories, right protein intake, things like that. So yeah, those were some big takeaways. But yeah, I mean, before I was just used to the bro workouts, arm day, shoulder day, chest day. Like I did that for a long time, and like I felt like I've never had the results that I have now because of the program that I was on, and that was very different.
And that's very consistent. Like a lot of people, they go in, they want to just destroy, like until they can't move anymore, like one muscle group. Like they'll just like destroy their chest, do 30 sets of chest. And for me, like I would either get bored with that, or even your sixth exercise for chest is probably not going to be your favorite chest movement to do, or it's probably not even going to be that great because you only do like some kind of flies, some kind of presses, and then when you're doing your sixth, seventh press, then you're kind of like, all right, I'd rather be doing bicep curls or something. So keeps it a little more fresh in the short term during the workout, But also what we're taking advantage of is every time you work a muscle, you stimulate growth, and that growth pretty much goes away after 48 hours. So you want to consistently spread out your volume. So stimulate growth, as opposed to doing it once, destroying yourself so you're sore for days, and then miss out on 5 days of growth. So that's what we really were taking advantage of there. And especially me, I've noticed anecdotally, throwing in some lateral raises, some shoulders every day, a little bit of arm work every day, that's really helped me improve in those areas personally. And I've seen some great returns for you putting on 1.5 inches on your arms, other clients putting on 2-3 inches. So frequency, I think, is very, very useful.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a big difference. And like before, like I said, I'd be really sore the next day, and like I probably couldn't have a duration where I'd work out 2 weeks in a row before, because at some point I'd get sick. Yeah. Like at some point, like I would get to a point where I either wasn't feeling well, or I was too sore to perform the next workouts, or like it was just really hard on my body. Like I felt like my immune system went down, and I just could work out 2 weeks in a row before. And then now, like I've been doing this program, you know, for 3 months, and I've never gotten sick. Like I've never felt like, oh, like I just haven't been sick. Like I would get like headaches every now and then, but that's normal for me. But like it's just very different. So that's what's really great about it.
Gotcha. So my workouts need to be a lot more harder. Got it. So my next question for you is, what did you learn maybe about yourself over the last 12 weeks?
So probably about myself, what I liked most was that what I put into it, I would get out of it. And like, I feel like you hear that a lot when people are lifting, like, oh, you know, whatever you put into it, whatever work you put into it, you get out. But I feel like I did that before, and like it just didn't really work out. And, you know, now I felt like I was just really consistent. My diet was in check. It just made me, you know, realize that it just helped. Like I didn't have, you know, any lack of confidence or, but it's true. Like whatever I put into it, I got out of it. And that's probably what I realized the most.
Awesome. And yeah, like today I was on a call with a new client that just started the Healthy Flash prescription. So shout out to Ryan. And what he said is, I've been training for the last like 3 years. I've been busting my ass. I've been putting hours a week, like 7 hours a week into the gym. It's like I'm not getting the returns for the amount of time that I'm putting in there year after year. I'm not looking any different. He's like, I need to change. I just need a better plan so I can walk into the gym with a game plan, have that confidence in the gym, and just have to execute. And just that alone, just having the execution mindset, like you just got to go and just do, as opposed to digesting all this information, the paleo, the diets on the internet. But have simple stuff that you can be a little flexible with. That just simplifies everything.
Yeah, I mean, I was tired of lifting and have it look like I don't lift. Like everyone saw, like I was just tired of that. So it's just like, you know, that's why I was hesitant to say like I'm actually on a program, because I'm like, oh, after, like, is it going to look like I lifted still or no?
Looks like a little bit now.
Yeah, a little bit. They noticed. They're like, oh, okay, those pants are fitting a little tight.
I wish I had coworkers like that. Damn. Well,
yeah, they give me hard times.
So where would you say you are now? So let's tackle that. Like, I guess, where are you now in terms of like emotionally and confidence wise after like your 12 weeks?
Definitely a lot better than where I was. Definitely a lot better. You know, my energy's better. Doing something really consistent, like, feels really good. Like having a routine. Lifting kind of became like, you know, brushing your teeth, or, you know, that kind of, and once you had that consistency and that routine, like when you don't do it, you don't feel as good. So like, I look forward to it now. And before, I felt like working out was just like a chore. And sometimes it is, let's be real. Like when Smash Brothers came out, it was a chore to work out because everyone just wanted to play the darn game. So, Yeah, I still want to. I don't know if I want to work out tonight because I haven't played in a while and I'm kind of thinking about it. But, you know, if you don't do it, you don't feel that great. But when I do work out, like I feel really good. Like, and that's another difference that I've had over the 12 weeks. Like I really looked forward to it. I really felt good after. Um, so yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, what I noticed too is like it's like especially when you get your training done, it's an internal win. And for me, and I mentioned this like on all these Q&As, I just feel better throughout the day. I'm more confident throughout the day. I
Yeah.
already won the day pretty much, so I'm like, all right, what can hold me back for the rest of this? Today, I slept in a little bit. I didn't get my training in dead in the morning, and I could even feel I was a little drained, maybe a little less. I hate to say it, a little less confident. And then I did just push to get my workout done, like more in the middle of the day, and then I felt a lot more, a little better from that because I knew that I
Yeah.
did something productive for the day. So kind of in that sense.
Yeah.
So we mentioned where you're at, like confidence-wise, emotionally. So I want to shout out some objective stats because I do have screen number 2 right here, and we're going to talk about, I guess, those changes objectively that you did undergo. So we have you at 6 months. So let me pull that back. So you were 134 on September 23rd, and you got
Yep.
as far as 143.6. So more around like 142 consistently.
Yep.
Your shoulder width went up 3 inches from 41 and a half to 44 and a half. Chest went from a 35 to a 38 about. Waist did go up a little bit because that happens when you gain 8 pounds, but went from a 29 to about a 30.
Yeah.
And then thighs also an inch and a half up from 19 to 20 and a half. And arms unflexed went to, I think from about 11 to like 12 and a half. So
Yeah, unflexed.
yeah, unflexed.
I remember I told you, I'm like, oh, you know, it's like a 12. You're like, is that flexed or unflexed? I'm like, oh, unflexed. That's how you're supposed to do it, right? He's like, no, you're supposed to do flex. I was like, oh, oops. I felt really bad. I was like, ugh.
So if you flex, they go from like 12 to 20. So technically, you went from an 11-inch bicep to a 20-inch bicep. So 9 inches of gains. So technically, but yeah. So I mean, I just want to shout you out. Shout out the numbers, the objective stuff, and I recommend to everyone take objective measurements. And I do notice if you do go to like a trainer or if you are just your boys hyping you up, they're gonna be like, "Yo, dude, you look so much more jacked today. Like we got this workout today." But you want to take objective measurements to always be sure that you're seeing the results that you're looking for. And that's why also for me myself, I was doing them weekly. That's something I got to improve on personally. But you want objective markers because the mirror is pretty subjective. And just like, yeah, the way you look can vary day to day. You want to be sure. So
Yeah, and that was what was great about you too. It's like if I asked you like, are these numbers normal? You'd be like, yes, no. Like you never like pumped me up. You were very like to the point, very to the measurements. You know, I just wanted to know something, and that's why I went to you because I knew you would tell me objectively and not just like I want to know that it's working. I want to know, you know, and I never measured before like I would lift. I didn't know how, or I just didn't know how much it was supposed to increase after so many weeks. I just didn't have that knowledge, and I couldn't really find it. So, yeah, measuring was huge, and I like that you just stuck to the numbers and was like, look, this is working, this isn't working, let's keep doing this, let's not keep doing this, and that was great.
exactly too. And like we mentioned diminishing returns. So it's like in your first 12 weeks, you can get some great results. Like you put on an inch and a half on your biceps. We don't know like the flex differences. But then it's like your next 12 weeks, you may get like a half inch or maybe an inch, so a little bit less. Then maybe the next inch is going to take a year to gain. It took me probably, and then I had to change my training up to get like an inch in a shorter amount of time from, I guess, me being 9 years deep. So that's where you got to get a little more creative and start like slamming yourself with the volume, especially in terms of getting inches with the arms, the chest, and then you got to be really strategic. But I think for your 12 weeks, you gained pretty much all around, so I think you did have some pretty great results there. Mm-hmm. So my next question for you, and you were in a calorie surplus, and let me see as high as your calories had to go, because you had done bulks in the past where you said you went from straight to 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day, just got hella thick, hella thick.
Very thick.
We went a little bit more on the gradual approach. So your highest calories were, I think, about 2,700 to 2,800 calories. Protein was always about 160 grams. So with that, you may have been battling your appetite to a certain extent, especially that happens when you're bulking for like 12 weeks. But what was your go-to meal that helped you adhere to a calorie surplus?
Um, well, the obvious is a protein shake before bed. Like I feel like most people will say that. For me, I just liked eating calorie dense foods. So like, um, I would have, again, Pop-Tarts. It's kind
Huge
of bad,
calories.
but like they're really high in calories and they have a good amount of carb intake, right? So the only thing I really had to worry about was the fat intake. So, but oatmeal was a go-to for me. Like I would do 1 cup of raw oats, slice an apple, like, and little brown sugar and cinnamon on top, and I had that every day. I still have that every day, and it's great. And like a cup of raw oats is a ton of protein. It's a ton of calories. The hardest part is trying to find calorie dense foods that aren't super high in fat. Um, and that was probably the biggest struggle where I found, but I use a mass weight gainer, and I would just, almond milk, 1 scoop of that, 1 scoop of protein powder on top of that, and that'd be like, it's the easiest way to get the calories in. Add a banana if you were like, because like I'm busy in the morning, like at work, like I don't always have the time to invest in like, I never did meal prep. Like I just have a bag of oatmeal literally at my desk, like a giant Costco bag, and my coworkers again make fun of me for it.
It's nice.
But yeah, it's fine. It works. People, calm down. But yeah, I mean, the obvious is a protein shake before bed is just the easiest way. Because I would lift at night, have the protein shake, go to bed, and that'd be great. And that was another thing that you mentioned too, that with the calories and the eating, like what was really different before is that I assumed because of how thin I was that I had to gain as much weight as possible as fast as possible. So I didn't think that there was a limit or like no, you shouldn't gain 8 pounds in a week. You know what I mean? Like I didn't think that there was that type of limiter if you're thin.
Yeah.
So one day I went from not really eating anything to 3,500 calories. And in 3 months, I gained about 20 pounds. And in this 3 months for this program, I only gained 8. But it's like a night and day in visual difference. Like that's another thing that was just huge difference for me. And like gaining weight really fast is, apparently not a really healthy thing. Like my doctor was saying that like, like you're thin, but like, I got stretch marks and things like that just because I gained weight like that, just because I ate consistently. And 3,500 calories apparently is a lot. And I just wanted to gain weight. So yeah, that was another thing that you mentioned that I thought was really interesting about this program. You kept dialing it down.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, you're gaining weight a little aggressive, and I'm like, 2 pounds in a week, like, or 2 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm like, that's aggressive. Like, I totally didn't understand that. Like, I thought doing this program I was gonna gain like 20 pounds like I was before, and you're like, no, like that's way too much, way too fast. You gotta take it slow, and that was news to me as a skinny guy. Because it's the opposite of what everyone tells you as an ectomorph, It's complete opposite. Dirty
Yeah,
bulk.
a lot of people
I mean,
say, like, eat as many
you can
calories
eat dirty. You can eat dirty here and there, but like, I mean, dirty bulk, get massive, no muscle, and then shred. Like, it can't be healthy doing that kind of extreme dieting. So that was again something interesting that you mentioned.
Exactly. Yeah, I think at one point we put you up to like as your like weight was going up, we were like, oh, let's do like maybe 2,900 this week, and then we saw like as you said like a little bit of aggressive weight loss. I mean weight gain, and I was like, trying to dial it back a little bit because I don't want to gain 5.
I didn't understand that. Yeah, I didn't understand that. I was just like, what are you talking about? This is great. This is working. But I realized that it'd probably just be all fat, not muscle.
Exactly. Like there's a limit to how much returns you'll get. Like once you go over maybe like 2-3 pounds per month, probably you're going to be gaining a higher percentage of body fat than necessary. And the biggest thing is like, as we said, consistency and staying with things from the long term. If you're able to adhere to a calorie surplus, training in a surplus is better than training in a deficit. Like we both know that. Like you get a lot easier, you recover a lot better. So focusing a lot of training in those kinds of phases, as opposed to maybe 1,000 calorie surplus, which you don't really need, then you're going to be able to prolong that for a long period of time. That's why I try to take like 10-month bulks. That's why you take weeks and you're
long bulks. That was something interesting too. Like you talked about doing long bulks, and I was like, what? And like you on your post, you'd say, oh, I'm bulking, and you'd be eating this many calories, and you'd increase it by like maybe 100. You're like, oh, I'm increasing my bulk phase. I'm like, when I did it, I would increase my bulk phase by like 600 calories. I'm like, what is this? But I mean, you look great, so it speaks for itself. Like, that's why I was like, I really have no idea what I'm doing.
Like, I added an extra piece of bread to my day, and that's like my
Yeah.
calories.
Yeah, what? That's bulking. Okay, sure.
So we talked about like what your go-to meal was. Protein shake before bed. You also said the Pop-Tart helped you along the way because it's low satiating, low satiety food, and a lot of calories. Because again, when you're in a surplus, your body fights you in the opposite direction. You're kind of fighting fullness. So we still, like, to get all-encompassing health, we still have to focus on, and I always stress this with all my clients, fiber intake, vegetable intake, protein intake, and those kinds of things, and also sodium and water.
Yep.
On those to get, because focusing on your calories, what your body weight is, your body composition, it's important, but also so is your micronutrients, your fiber as well. So, and it's actually harder when you're bulking to fit in vegetables because, again, they're so filling from low calories. It can actually make it harder to get into a surplus. So what was your go-to vegetable throughout the program that helped you get your vegetables in while still eating your Pop-Tarts?
Carrots were probably my go-to vegetable because I could just literally bring a bag of baby carrots to work and I would just snack on those throughout the day. And like, I love broccoli, but it's like, you could cook in the microwave, put in a Ziploc bag, do all that, but it's just like, when I'm at my desk and I'm working through emails or working on like shoes or projects, I don't want to break my concentration and just go do something. So that's why I never really meal prepped. I would just order food or something, but baby carrots for sure I would just snack throughout the day. And like that was the easiest, by far the easiest.
And they're probably like the vegetable that travels the easiest. And also one little bag, I remember it was like 5 servings and it's like 175 calories. And like, you just snack through that. When I'm working up here, I usually will bring up like a bag of carrots or something, especially when I was cutting. Because also they're so, I'm pretty surprised that was your favorite during a bulking phase. Because I know when I'm cutting, I'll eat a lot of carrots because there's so much chewing involved that it actually feels a little more filling as opposed to like something that goes down maybe a little bit easier.
True. I mean, like during my the program, I went back and forth to where I'd have times where I'm like, oh God, I'm full. And then like sometimes, I felt like later I'd be like, I'm really hungry. Like I remember I would message you and be like, what do you do if you're hungry and you've already hitting your calories? You're like, just go to bed. And it's true because at 10 o'clock at night, I'm lying there and I'm just like, oh man, like I really want to have a donut right now. Like, and like I'm bulking, right? Like that's allowed. And then you're just like, nah, like should probably just, drink some water and go to bed. So.
Yeah, sometimes I'm a little honest with my coaching approach.
No, it's great. It's what I need. I want someone to tell me yes, no. I want the yes, no man.
Good. So my next question for you, usually I ask, like, what's your best tip to adhere to low calories for, like, people that want to lose weight? But, like, you're not the only person who has struggled, like, gaining weight maybe in the past, like, fighting appetite to get, like, more calories in. You mentioned you use a mass gainer as well. And I've worked with clients that, like, for years they're always like, I can't put on a pound. And I'm like, do you track your calories? Usually they say no. But what's your best tip to adhere to a higher calorie diet for these people that also struggle to put on weight?
In terms of food?
Yes. What? Yes. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I mean, again, like tracking is a huge thing. You realize you don't eat as much. Like before I thought I'd eat a lot and then I would track and be like, wow, I literally had like less than 1,000 calories today. Like that's why I'm thin. Like, and I would start, peanut butter is great. Like I would try and, it's really high in fat. So like, I'd always try and get like the reduced peanut butter, even though it doesn't taste super great. It's a little sweeter for some reason, but like putting that in a shake, you don't even notice, and it tastes good. And, but yeah, again, just calorie dense foods, that maybe not fill you up as much. So like walnuts are also good, a little high in fat. But like I used to have a monster shake before bed, and drinking calories is so much easier. I a half cup of walnuts, a cup of raw oats, a banana, 2 scoops of peanut butter, a mass gainer, and almond milk. And that's like a ridiculous number of calories. I mean, I think it was like 1,800 calories. And and when you're drinking it, it's great. You don't really notice it. So that's probably the best and easiest way to hit those calorie marks if you're trying to gain weight. But it's also like you want to gain good weight too. So that was a shake I'd had back in the day where it was like, you know, I didn't care what it was. Just give me the 4,000 calories.
Yeah, so like, and I'm with you. Like, I mean, Chick-fil-A, like, milkshakes, those go down really, really easy, and they're pretty high calories.
So caloric. And then you're hungry like an hour later. You're like, what the heck? This is exactly why America's fat. Like, you could just eat, like, fast food at super high calories, but, like, then you're hungry soon. You're just like, I don't get it. Why is this? So...
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's like those are some of the things causing like a lot of Americans to be overweight. But like some people that are underweight and do want to get better training, they need a calorie surplus. Hit the important things: your fiber, your vegetables.
Yep.
And then whatever you need to kind of hit your goal calories to ensure you're in a surplus to enhance your training. That's going to benefit you, and that's why you see pro athletes eating McDonald's or people with these high energy turnovers because they're doing a lot of exercise. They're still healthy and they're eating a lot of calories.
Yeah, I mean, as long as as you were saying, like, as long as you hit the numbers, as long as you hit the protein count, and like you were saying, you know, have a couple of like Sour Patch Kids, you know, like they're carbs, it is what it is, and they're calories. Like, I had a hard time hitting my carb number most of the time, so that was something that was easy. Candy was easy to hit that number with calories because you don't want to have a lot of fat, right? So like I had my fat intake that I didn't want to hit. I would go over anyway. How would I hit that? I'd have, you know, maybe some candy to hit the carbs and the calorie count, you know, just here and there. But yeah, tracking, it's, again, huge difference. And then a monster shake if you want. I remember I had this one protein shake, this one protein powder called Russian Bear 5000. I don't even know if it was FDA approved. I'll have you look at it. But like, it was 5,000 calories in one serving.
Was this from Russia? Like, what was it, Russian Bear or what?
I don't know. If everyone who's watching, like, you could literally Google it, like Russian Bear 5000, and it's a real thing, but it's
real sketchy.
It tasted really weird, and that's how I gained most of the weight, honestly. But I would not recommend it.
And Russians are draft.
Always. Always.
I need some of that, but I'm competing next year, so I don't know if that's going to come up in a drug test. So I got to avoid the Russian Bears. So my next question for you, and this is going to be before we take some questions from the people watching. So if you guys have any questions for Robby, drop them down below, and how he gained 8 pounds and is not super thick, but jacked. So my last question before we take some questions. So again, comment those down below for anything you guys need help with. What is your biggest tip to full-time workers that want to improve their health? So this is kind of a little bit different from what your goals were, because a lot of, again, Americans, what is it, like 30% of us are obese, so most people need some weight loss to improve their health. So I guess it's in that context of what do you think, I guess, would be beneficial to most people? Could even be training. What do you think?
That's hard too, because it really depends on the kind of job like someone has. Like for me, my job at Nike is very project based, so it's pretty flexible. I'll definitely have times where I have to sit down and grind and get stuff done, but if I'm done with my projects, like I can kind of do what I want, come and go, things like that. But you know, even when I was really busy, I used to work out on my lunch break. So that's something that, you know, maybe a lot of people don't like the idea of doing when you're at work. Like, I want to take a break, not, you know, go work essentially again. But like, I found that working out during my break at lunch was really awesome because I get it done in a way. And at the end of the day, it's like, you have all these things that you want to do when you're at work. And then once work's done, you're just like, I'm done. I don't want to do anything. I just want to come home. I just want to sit. You know, so I found that working out during lunch was really helpful. It made me push through the last half of the day. I felt relaxed. I just had my protein shake, which would be my lunch. So anyone who works like an 8 to 5, it may sound like an awful suggestion, but I would just say try it out. If there's a gym close to you, like work out at lunch, an hour and a half, depending on how flexible everyone is. You know,
How flexible your lunch is.
yeah,
Like a half hour.
yeah. So, or how flexible your lunch is. Just doing a little something, maybe just go on a run, or like I had a lot of people that would do that at work. They would just go on a run for 20 minutes or a half hour and then come back and then eat. You know, it is hard. Like I could say like, oh, get a standing desk. Like there's things you can do to where, like, is that what you have right now?
Well, it's about to be sitting now.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, see. Oh, yeah, see, there you go. So, like, there's little things that you can do throughout the day. And with my buddies, too, we used to have a time where, like, at 10 o'clock, we would all do push-ups every time at 10 o'clock. So if you have, like, friends at work that like to lift or exercising, like, that's something that you could start to implement. You know, there's always little things you can do while you're at work, but it's easier said than done. It is hard.
Yeah, 100%. And like just any little thing is really going to help. So, I mean, even if you can get a good like 30-minute workout done, 20-minute workout, if you just do like every minute on the minutes, EMOMs, just as you said, like do push-ups here and there. And even what I noticed, even if you go to the gym for 30 minutes or if you are just keeping active, and probably the number one thing when I see like people incorporate some kind of fitness into their routine, it doesn't necessarily just help you because you're doing that workout or you're doing that like walk or something, like go out for like a 30-minute walk. What actually happens too, and that I notice is when you are like mentally focused on that workout or you have that trip to the gym or you just have a focus on something, I've noticed when you're mentally stimulated, you're not thinking about your stomach. You're not feeling how hungry you are. You're not thinking about food. If you're out of the house, you're not really eating. If you're working out, you're not eating. And sometimes that, just going for walks, people see a great amount of weight loss because they're just not in the kitchen. They're not sitting on the couch anymore. And I know when, in my past, when I would sit down and watch TV, I'm snacking on some now popcorners. But it used to be Doritos. It used to be some tasty
Cheetos.
Yeah, like
all that good stuff.
Wow. So Instagram is kicking us off soon. So we're going to take a quick amount of questions because we have a minute and 50 seconds left. So we're going in. I saw Kev had a question. Do you think it's easier to lose weight or bulk? In your opinion, go, Robby.
In my opinion, I feel like it's easier to lose weight because a lot of losing weight is just based on your current diet. Like you could do cardio and just eat right and lose weight really fast. In my opinion, I've always been a hard gainer my whole life, so you could just slap me in the face with that, but that's just how I feel. Like I have a buddy who was big. We worked out at the same time. He just did cardio and ate right and lost a good amount of weight.
Yeah, and it really depends on the person because like you're fighting your appetite, which may be it's a lower appetite. So like just generally you have a low caloric intake, so it's really easy for you to maintain a lower weight. But then some people with the higher appetites, they have to fight the opposite fight, which is kind of what I have. So another question we have, because we have 1 minute left and we will have to close this out. Isabel asks, serious question, how does your day-to-day schedule go with work, working out, and photography?
So, work is work. I'm kind of gotten into a groove of that. I come home like around 4 or 5, and then I work out really late at night now. So I work out like around 9 every day, and then I have my shake, go to bed. So like that's the routine. With photography, I haven't done a lot of it recently. A lot of the photography I do, like I used to do weddings and things like that and a lot of client work. I kind of stopped doing that just because work became busy. And I did a lot of fine art work, fine art photography and conceptual photography. And that's for myself. Like that's kind of like the therapy, it feels good when I can do it. Working out has also been my kind of therapy. So photography is a little bit on the back burner, but I'm really trying to get back into it. And I, feel like I can now, honestly. So.
Awesome. Well, I'm sorry, Robby. We have 8 seconds. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you so much, Robby, for checking in with me. Again, yeah. So thank you, Robby. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Just want to give a proper closeout to this video. Thank you guys for watching. And then also thank you to Robby for taking the time to do the live Q&A with me. You can check out these Q&As. Usually I do them every Tuesday night around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Actually, last week I just did me and I took a Q&A on my own for about an hour, which was a lot of fun. But definitely check my Instagram page on Tuesday nights, and then usually I'll be going live, and hopefully we'll be having a lot of my clients on there in the future. So again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Keep it flexible. I'm out.